What is good, everybody? I just want to make sure my audio is on. All right, we're good. What is good, everybody? We're going to be going over today's trade. We started off the week strong. All right, the month strong, the new month. We started off the new month strong. We had a winning trade for the start of the week, so we'll see where the month begins. I mean, we already know where it begins. Let's see where the month goes, I meant to say. Again, last month wasn't my best month. Part of the game. Again, we're coming into this month just trusting our system and keep trusting who we are as a trader, all right? So I want to go over today's trade that we ended up taking. I'm going to put myself over here in the bottom right corner. I'm going to move this over here just because we took the trade on NASDAQ, okay? So as we can see here, proof as always, we made $171 per account today, okay? Nothing crazy, nothing big. I wanted to take my profits a little bit early today. Again, I've been focusing on letting my trades run, but I'm going to explain why I let it not run today. Because we didn't have a higher time frame draw on liquidity, and we also had a higher time frame draw on liquidity above that we already took out on ES that I thought we could retrace back up to after retracing into this 15-minute fair value gap. And yeah, I'll just go over it. Okay, so let's start on the 5-minute time frame. Let's put this back in replay mode. Let's go. So as we can see in replay mode, we ended up just pumping. Okay, market opens up. We end up pumping. I didn't see any opportunities to take a trade. And we just kept continuing higher. As we can see over here on ES, same thing happened. We end up forming this 15-minute bullish fair value gap. Same thing happens over here on NASDAQ. We form this 15-minute bullish fair value gap. I wanted to see if we get a retrace into it. Never got a retrace into it. Again, price decided to continue higher. We end up taking out this 4-hour high above. And then we also take out another 4-hour high that we had marked. Let's see over here that I wanted to target. Let's mark this out on ES. This 4-hour high above also, okay? So those are my main draws in liquidity today, and after those got taken, I really didn't want to trade. But as we could see, ES ends up taking these around 10:05 and then ends up taking the higher time frame draw around 10:15, correct? Reason why I also didn't take a trade is because we had news at 10 a.m. We had ISM manufacturing PMI. Again, I wanted to wait for news to come out, and by the time we were already up here, it was 10 a.m. News ended up coming out. I wanted to see if we could retrace into that 15-minute fair value gap, maybe take out this 5-minute low, and then continue higher and take out this 4-hour draw on liquidity. So we could see we're continuing higher, NASDAQ ends up not taking out this original 4-hour high, right? If we go over here to ES, we can see ES came up, took out this high at 2 p.m. from Thursday, correct? Let's go to the 4-hour time frame over here. We can see that is up here Thursday, correct? Was it Thursday? Sorry, not Tuesday. Thursday the 29th. Thursday the 29th. We can see at 2 p.m., correct? So this 4-hour high was not taken yet on NASDAQ, correct? We also had this 4-hour high that we also still could take, but I was paying attention to the 5-minute and the 15-minute time frame. Okay? So as we could see, here's that 4-hour high, right? We end up forming a 15-minute bearish SMT. As we could see, ES comes up, takes out this 4-hour high, as you can see right here, right? And then NASDAQ over here, let's go to the 15-minute time frame, we end up forming a 15-minute SMT because, again, off of this 4-hour high up here, we form a high and a lower high on the 15-minute time frame. And as we can see on the 15-minute time frame over here on ES, we form a high and a higher high, correct? So step one, we form a 15-minute SMT, correct? So I was paying attention to that first. I didn't enter right away because, again, we didn't form this 15-minute fair value gap yet. We were about to form it. And I wanted to see if we were going to retrace into this 15-minute fair value gap and continue up. So what I did is I scaled down to the 5-minute time frame. We'll go to ES also. I scaled down to the 5-minute time frame, right? I'm waiting for confirmation. I'm just not going to enter a trade because we have a 15-minute SMT. What does price do? It comes down, dips into the 15-minute fair value gap. We end up retracing back up. What happens? NASDAQ doesn't come up and take out the previous high, which was that 15-minute high, correct? So as we can see, we end up forming a 5-minute SMT to the downside now, correct? ES forms a high and a higher high. NASDAQ forms a high and a lower high. Reason why I took this trade off of NASDAQ is because it was a leading index to the downside, correct? So after seeing that, I decided to scale down to the 1-minute time frame, and I was also paying attention to the 5-minute time frame, and I wanted to see if we were going to break structure to the downside, which we end up doing on NASDAQ over here. When we did that, we ended up forming equal lows, and I'm going to mark these out right here on the 5-minute time frame on ES, correct? And we're going to go to the 1-minute time frame here on ES just so you guys can see this better. So look, we end up forming equal lows right here. We didn't take these out yet, right? We formed equal lows on the 5-minute time frame. If we scale out to the 1-minute time frame, you guys can see these better right here. So I scaled down to the 1 minute time frame because we broke structure on the 5 minute time frame on NASDAQ, and it's the leading index to the downside. I wanted to see a little bit extra confirmation to fill in this 15-minute fair value gap. And the reason why I wanted to fill this 15-minute fair value gap is we were forming an hourly bullish fair value gap down below here, correct? We ended up forming this. But why did we not retrace into it? I'm going to mark it out for you. In my opinion, I don't think we retraced back into this hourly fair value gap and totally disrespected this 15-minute fair value gap because, again, we still didn't sweep out a higher time frame draw on liquidity. If we came up, excuse me, holy shit. If we came up and then we reacted off of this and we swept this draw on liquidity, this 4 hour, and then we ended up forming that 5 minute, 15-minute SMT, break structure in the 5 minute time frame, I would expect price to go straight through this 15-minute fair value gap, disrespecting it, and come fill in this hourly fair value gap below, okay? But that didn't happen. So my mindset on what this trade was is I originally wanted to just get this fair value gap to get filled. So I scaled down to the 1 minute time frame, identifying that ES also had equal lows down here, so we most likely will continue lower, right? So I see that we had this 1 minute low up here, 1044. Where is it at over here on ES? 1044, correct? I'm waiting for confirmation. What do we get? We get equilibrium from the most recent high to the most recent low. I'm going to X out this fair value gap here. And then we end up forming a what? A 1 minute S&T, correct? Let's see, hold on real quick right here. It was this high right here. Bang, right there, right? ES came up and took that high at 1053. We could see 1053 over here. NASDAQ formed a high and a lower high, correct? I'm going to mark this out as S&T so you can see it. And then ES formed a high and a higher high with equal lows down below. So in my opinion, I wanted to see ES come take out these equal lows, at least come to the 50% level of this 15-minute fair value gap and completely fill this 15-minute fair value gap. If you go watch the live trading session, I originally had my take profit right here. I had my full take profit at 25,800 to fill the whole 15-minute fair value gap. I ended up taking my full take profit around here because the way price was reacting. So as we could see, we end up forming that 1 minute SMT. We respect 1 minute equilibrium by getting a bearish candle close out of discounted price range. I enter my trade off of there. We let price do its thing. First take profit gets hit, which was around this break-even level. So here's my first take profit. I went in 3 micros off this trade. My first take profit was like somewhere around here. I'm not 100% sure. We can go back and look at it. I had my second take profit at this low, at this 1 minute low. That ends up getting hit. And then I moved my stop loss to break even once we hit our break even level, which was this low, correct? Because ES took out those equal lows. I wanted my trade to completely run to this. I wanted the full 15-minute fair value gap to get filled. But as we could see, we end up forming a 1 minute bearish fair value gap, correct? Right here. 1 minute bearish fair value gap. And I started to think, if we are going to disrespect this 15-minute fair value gap, we are going to move through it with force. That's what I've been starting to study lately. If we have a huge move to the upside, and if we want to sweep out a draw on liquidity, and let's say we have a 15-minute fair value gap with an hourly fair value gap above, I want to see that higher time frame draw on liquidity get swept first, and then show that price is going to continue in the down direction, inverse that 15-minute fair value gap to come into the hourly fair value gap below. But again, it usually goes through that first fair value gap with force. As we could see here, I was letting the trade run. We could see price was starting to just chop around at the 50% level of this 15-minute fair value gap. And as we could see, ES already came down, filled in the majority of this 15-minute fair value gap, and we still on NASDAQ have this 4-hour draw on liquidity up above that we could be attracted to, correct? So I'm letting the trade run. I'm letting it do its thing. We came into this 1 minute bearish fair value gap. I wanted to see price just flush through here, but I saw price kept chopping around, correct? So as you can see, I end up taking my full take profit once we hit this candle here. So it's the bottom of this candle. And just look, again, I would have made $30 more per account because I had 1 micro left of running, right? Look what happens. We would have been edged. We literally would have been edged. We would have been stopped out at break even. And I would have made around $100 per account instead of $170 per account if I didn't take my profit where I did. Correct? And the reason why I did this, yes, I've been working on letting my trades run, but the way price was reacting off of this 15-minute fair value gap without sweeping a higher time frame draw on liquidity or even having a higher time frame SMT, like maybe if we had an hourly SMT or a 4-hour SMT, then I would believe price would come down into this hourly fair value gap that was created. But again, We're just reacting off of a 5-minute and 15-minute SMT to fill in a 15-minute fair value gap, in my opinion. Just by seeing how price was reacting at the 50% level, this 15-minute fair value gap, I was expecting price to react off this level and come take out that 4-hour draw on liquidity. And what ends up happening? As we can see, price continues up a little bit. We have one more retrace down after price continues up. And then we end up targeting that 4-hour draw on liquidity without inversing that 15-minute fair value gap. As you can see, we'll let this run. We'll let this do its thing. Hold on. Let it go. And bang. All right. So as we can see, price ends up coming down respecting this 15-minute fair value gap, which was expected. Correct? I wanted just this whole fair value gap to get filled. But again, I would have made around $30 more per account. I was fine with taking my 1 to 2 risk to reward because as we can see, if we drag it up here, I was risking around 20 points. If it'll let me, hold on. Let's get this. Look, I was risking 19 points. I was going to put my stop loss where equilibrium gets invalidated. And we hit around a, last take profit was around there, so 44. So we hit around a 1 to 2.3 risk to reward on this trade. Was it really enough for me to go a couple more points to make $30 more per account? No, because again, I saw how price was reacting off of this 50% level of the 15-minute fair value gap. If we wanted to push through that 15-minute fair value gap to come to that hourly fair value gap, we would have pushed through with force, okay? I gave it about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes for it to do its thing, and I just saw how price was reacting off of this level. I didn't trust it. I took what I was given, and I left with the day what I was given. And again, we ended up making $171 per account, making it a 3.4K day on the day, correct? So again, if we had a higher time frame draw on liquidity down below, like an hourly or 4-hour draw with that hourly fair value gap, again, it probably would have been a different story. And also, going back to it again, if we ended up sweeping out this 4-hour draw and then we ended up forming those SMTs and stuff like that, then I would end up expecting price to inverse that 15-minute fair value gap to come into that hourly fair value gap. But again, I just thought the way price was reacting off this 15-minute had the potential to continue higher, which it ended up doing, okay? So overall, we hit around a 43-point trade. It was around a 1 to 2.2 risk to reward on the day. We were only risking around $100, whatever, 19. Let's see, let's do the math. We were risking 19 times 2, which equals 38 times 3. We were risking $114 to make $170. And I think that was a pretty good risk to reward. I didn't want to risk too much on this trade because just regardless on how price was today, we skyrocketed up like 400 points since market open. Yeah, 400 points, right? I was set on not taking a trade today, but since we formed those equal lows on ES and we formed a 15-minute SMT, a 5-minute SMT, and then we broke structure to the downside on the 5-minute time frame, then we scale down to the 1-minute time frame. We see a 1-minute SMT form, 1-minute equilibrium gets respected, and we still didn't take out those equal lows over here on ES with the 15-minute fair value gap below. Dude, the opportunity was there. I took the trade. It ended up playing out in our favor. I didn't get greedy. I didn't over-risk. I didn't do anything wrong. Worst thing, we would have lost around $114 per account in the day, which would have been around 2K or something like that. And again, the trade played out in our favor. So overall, hopefully you learned something on this trade. Again, I made the Discord private, so I won't be trading live in front of new people on Discord anymore. Again, I'm trading with the people who are already in the Discord. Sorry, I paused there because I was reading the Discord real quick. But again, if you want to watch me trade live, you can watch me trade live on Kick. And again, I'll be posting my live sessions, which I did today. I post my live sessions all the time to just be real, show the real reality of my journey. And as I grow in the future, again, I'll keep posting my trading sessions every single day, my live trading sessions, whether I take a win, a loss, or break-even trade. And again, I'll go live on Kick if you guys want to watch me live on Kick. The link is in my bio. But the Discord is private. I'm going to focus on those people right now that are in the Discord. And I want to focus on myself a little bit because, again, a lot of people feel like they're entitled to just, again, tell you what to do, right? And it's just, it gets annoying after a little bit of time. And I just want to focus on growth and helping the people in the Discord who really want to get better. And that's really it at the reality of the end of it. So, again, here's today's trade. Hopefully you learned a little bit from this video. There's a lot to be learned in this video. Again, this was a pretty simple trade. I feel like we had a bunch of confluences to take this trade, and it overall played out in our favor. So we'll see how this month goes. We have literally a whole month left. It's only the first day, so we'll see what happens. Last month wasn't my best month, but I truly believe if we keep sticking to our system, keep trusting our process, keep sticking to our risk management plan, and slowly building and focusing on the long-term goal, we're going to get to where we need to be by the end of this year, and I'm excited to see where we are at the end of this year. All right, Peace out. We'll see you guys and girls tomorrow in the live session. And again, like, subscribe. Peace.